Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I'm going live about now. I hope you can hear me well. I hope you can see me well, because this is a very important stream that I definitely don't want to be ruined by technical issues. Let me even just put like my Apple Watch in theater mode. We are half an hour away from Apple's Let Loose iPad event, iPad Pro, iPad Air, Apple Pencil 3, all that good stuff. Whatever you feel like Apple might introduce. It's supposedly a 35-minute event, so don't expect too much. We still do have WWDC just around the corner, coming in a month, which probably says a lot that this event might have been delayed from like late March to sometime in April, and then back, and then even further into May, at least if you follow Mark Gurman. But then also suddenly and magically, the iPad that we're gonna get today is also supposed to get an M4 chip, even though it definitely wouldn't have gotten it in March, because that's when the MacBook Air came out and it got the M3 chip, the same one that is in the MacBook Pro. I'm still super duper confused about it. Looking at the video, it looks like the stream is going well. Some people are tuning in. Please, as always, let me know if everything is working out for you technically and content-wise, of course, although it's kind of difficult to change my plan here because I have this. Yes, this is actually why I wanted to live stream yesterday, but I held myself back and I got a good night's sleep so that I look somewhat presentable today. Together with this, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we reached 100k subs, and it's funny, yesterday I met the first person in real life who recognized me. That was funny. I know I'm not famous. I know I'm not gonna be famous with this, but it's still kind of funny and cute. Regardless, yes, this is a silver play button that looks like absolute crap right now, because this is how Google, or should I say Alphabet, decides to ship play buttons. They don't put them in an extra card box. They have a box around the play button, but you can actually see the YouTube logo. This is not unboxed in any way. The only thing I did, I scratched off as much as I could of the shipping label for privacy reasons. And yeah, this is actually funny, because if anybody of you like orders a lot of Apple products, you know that Apple like really makes sure to cover up their logos. Like they usually put their box in another box to reduce the risk of the box getting stolen, right? Because people know that it's like a cool thing probably inside, probably something decently expensive, and yeah, Apple tries to cover that up. YouTube apparently does not share that same belief when it comes to play buttons, which I guess kind of makes sense, because they are engraved, so you would know who it was stolen from. But it's still like funny that like the box is absolute crap. And we're gonna go through a very, very brief unboxing, because obviously I don't think that it's like very much hidden inside the box. So just ripped off that thing. Then where do I open it here? I'm so stupid. Riveting content, I know, but I kind of like given that this is still a live stream channel, even though all of you watched these videos afterwards. Oh yeah, this is how it opens from here. Okay, I'll just briefly look into the box to see that there are no papers there showing like my very personal identity. Oh no, it doesn't. Wait, does it say like anything here? Oh, might have to hide something. Very briefly. Okay, we are gonna go through this individually. For one, we do have a message from Rick here inside. Rick is telling us, congratulations on your subscriber milestone. We are honored to take part in recognizing your achievement and want your experience to be exceptional. This award was inspected and packaged with great care by Rick. Thank you, Rick. If your award was damaged during shipping, oh god, I hope not, or if you have any questions, please contact us at youtubecreator@societyawards.com. So, nothing crazy, at least for now. So then we have, this is basically like another thing to celebrate. Don't think they have my name on here. Do you remember your first subscriber? Your 1000? Your 100th? Yeah, I actually do. Your 1000th. Chances are you do. And we know that you'll definitely remember your 100,000 subscriber. Wait, but it doesn't say who that was. Your fans may have found you while searching YouTube, learned about you through a friend, or maybe you showed up as a recommended video. I believe my algorithm says that it's the last one. No matter how they came to your channel, your audience stayed and their numbers increased because of you and the community that you've built. We are proud to honor your impressive milestone of reaching 100k subs with the Silver Creator Award. Congrats! We know that you have many more stories to share, with your community, and we know your fans can't wait for you to amaze them even more with your commitment and creativity. So keep creating, keep building. We can't wait to see what you'll do next, and we're here to support you along the way. And who knows, when you reach your millionth subscriber, yeah, that's somewhat doubtful. We may just write to you and ask, do you remember your 100,000 subscriber? So there's like a nice, like, transparent thing here to protect it. And there it is. There is my silver play button in all its glory. It says Mark Tech for passing 100k subs. Doesn't look damaged. It looks pretty weighty, looks pretty cool. It's not silver, so I'm not gonna be selling it for metal. Let's see how it unboxes further. Yeah, it's light. It's plastic, right? Or in best case like aluminum. No, it's plastic. Where did I put my scissors? I don't want to rip anything open and damage anything, because that would be like an instant panic attack. Oh, it just rips open by itself. Oh, it's just like it's for you to easier hang up. Okay, hang on the wall. Okay, that's practical, I guess. And this is what it looks like. Nothing too crazy, and you can see the reflection of my Mac here. Yeah, it's super cool, but I guess that's also sort of me being done with the unboxing. It says Mark Tech, obviously. I'm just gonna move it through the frame. It looks pretty. It definitely collects fingerprints, especially the middle part, I kind of assume. And it just has this nice reflective sheen, and I think that for the remainder of the video, I'll probably gonna put it, yeah, I think that looks good. A little more to the side. Yeah, I think that looks good. Cool. Now I'm one of those YouTubers that have like their play button always somewhere hidden on the screen. Usually I don't do like full screen videos, and I apologize for sweating. It's a very, very humid day today. It's not even hot, but it's like very weirdly humid, and I didn't want to open the windows too much because there's a construction site right next to my apartment, which is abhorrent, but it's really, really good when when the windows are closed, and it's really terrible when the windows are open. So I apologize if I sweat a little today. That will be a problem because of just like live streaming considerations. So let us talk about the actual event, and yes, it's still amazing to see that. So if you catch me like looking somewhere off, then it's probably me just looking at my OBS window. Yeah. So today's event is a weird one in some ways. Like, yeah, iPad's coming out in spring. It's nothing crazy, nothing too new, and it definitely doesn't like change the game. It's just that we haven't gotten new iPads for so long. Like, yeah, we do have obviously the M2 iPad Pro, which kind of says that, yeah, it hasn't been updated with the M3 when the MacBooks were. We have the M1 iPad Air that obviously couldn't have gotten the M2 because simply the M2 iPad Pro exists. So I actually would probably bet that the iPad Air M2 was like ready for quite a while, but now we just need to figure basically out like when can we release it, and we can release it only when we have an M3 or like an M4 iPad Pro, just for product differentiation purposes, right? The other point is, of course, those are OLED iPads. This is actually the first time we are getting anything larger than a Pro Max 6.7 inch, well, unless you count like the micro OLED screens in Vision Pro, but they're actually way smaller. They just appear way larger to your eye because of the lenses. But yeah, this is actually Apple's first foray into larger OLED screens, which is going to be interesting because OLED screens are pretty difficult sometimes. Like, they don't get super bright. They're not as efficient as you might think, especially if you want to push them to higher brightness levels. Their color accuracy can suffer if you change the brightness a lot. So LCD is a lot easier to work with, probably simply because LCD is an older technology, so it's kind of more figured out in many ways. And beyond that, I would just say that yeah, this is why the iPad Pro is getting expensive, guys, because Apple is trying to overcome all of those issues. It's a double layer OLED, so it's not quite like stacking just two panels on top of each other, but it's somewhat similar to that. So it obviously drives pricing up. It allows you to get much brighter while also being more efficient. It reduces the risk of like burn-in, at least from what I understand. Again, there aren't actually that many panels of that kind out there. Like, I understand there's like a latest Huawei phone that has that, but then it's also a BOE panel as far as I'm concerned. So this will be the first panel like this on a tablet. And if you are like of the mind that like, well, Apple isn't the first here to OLED, you're absolutely correct. The Galaxy Tab series and other tablets have had OLED for years. It just so happens so that there's a massive quality leap there, and don't take my word for it. Take that from Ross Young, who is one of the best sources when it comes to display leaks, and he's basically saying that this will be the best panel of its size imaginable. So any also like kind of laptop that currently is getting OLED, that will not be actually competitive with the iPad Pro. My assumption is that Apple's goal might be to match a lot of the current mini LED specifications with that OLED, but don't go too crazy. Like, maybe SDR brightness would still be capped at 600 nits, maybe a little higher, and then HDR brightness would be 1600 nits, but now it would be just pixel perfect HDRness, so it would work out even better for like the kind of infinite contrast ratio that you expect. There's also just a question of like how much cost does it actually add to the device versus how much more will Apple charge for it, right? Like, the latest front page tech video said that the iPad could be $1,500, up from $1,099 currently. I have speculated that it would either be $1,299 or maybe $1,399. I've said that if it is $1,399, it definitely would also double base storage to 256 gigabytes. And at $1,299, I could still see it doubling base storage, but I could also still see it having a 128. It would be a damn shame because I don't think there's anything to be really gained here. I think you scare enough people off with that higher price point that like upcharging them even further, but saving them $100 up front. It just doesn't make sense to me. Just make the lineup less confusing, make it 256. In my opinion, we wouldn't even need a 512 gigabyte version, but Apple likes to do that. So go 256, 512, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabyte, and then 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte are still the versions that have like the higher RAM configuration. Again, it will vary. I don't know, like maybe this is an iPad that comes with 12 gigabytes of memory or something like that as base. Who knows? We have gotten like no last minute leaks. Like I've made actually a video on that 2 days ago where I analyzed like last minute leaks from Mark Gurman, and it was basically just him regurgitating everything he has said before. So I don't even know what else I could add here, right? We don't know if like M4 is actually a meaningful step forward. Like there is a distinct chance that if it gets like an M4 chip, that it's like an M3 with the neural engine of the A17 Pro, but then pretty much identical in every way. Or it could be a massive architectural leap basically across the board. It could be the first Apple Silicon chip built on ARM v9 instead of ARM v8. It could maybe double ray tracing performance, because Apple's GPU performance is actually really good. It doesn't scale that well for like some of the more primitive benchmarks that we have out there, but when you actually look how their chips perform for games and stuff, for real world results, you will actually find that they're pretty impressive. But their ray tracing, well, it's their first gen ray tracing, right? It has a lot to improve, a lot of room to improve, and we've seen that for Nvidia, for AMD, for Qualcomm chips. Basically, the first generation of ray tracing cores is always not that great. Sometimes, by the way, there are specific ray tracing cores, like it is on Nvidia GPUs, and sometimes the ray tracing capabilities are built into the standard shaders, which is what AMD, for example, does. But everybody basically does a massive step forward in terms of rasterization to ray tracing performance ratio on their second generation of ray tracing GPUs. And the reason for that is pretty simple. It's because they learned a lot from that first one, right? And while they were releasing the first one, they were already working on the second one. So they were also learning from like their competition at that point, stuff like that, from stuff that is even like open source material. And when it comes to Apple, obviously they currently have like DM3, and DM3 is also just 6 months old. So who knows if they had like maybe two parallel development architectures, and now it's just time to release the better one on N3E rather than N3B. It's really difficult, right? Because Apple is in this situation with iPad where so many people are like screaming, well, give it Mac OS, give it full Xcode support, right? Make Final Cut and Logic better than they are right now. Give us full Finder, right? So from going full on Mac OS to at least giving us all the Pro apps and things like that. And in my opinion, I think that the Pro app demand is kind of valid. The Mac OS demand, definitely not so much in my opinion. But Apple now needs to find, especially if they're going much more expensive, they need to find additional selling points. More performance is great, but again, I have an M1 iPad Pro. There really is nothing that I'm that constrained in. Like, sure, could I use even more GPU power to play a game like Resident Evil? Yeah, sure, but I also would probably prefer playing it on my PlayStation anyway. And when it comes to just like, well, what is the iPad about? Kind of the iPad Air is the main iPad, I guess, because the iPad Pro is just too expensive for most people. And now, so the iPad Air gets a 13-inch model. But now that we have a 13-inch model and it also gets like M2, which is like also very powerful, now people will ask, well, is the iPad Air now also like too big, too expensive for what the iPad actually is supposed to be? So it depends a lot on the pricing. It depends a lot on the package, right? Like for example, if like the iPad Air, like a 13-inch basically, is like 60 hertz, no mini LED or whatever, I don't care. I know that the people buying it for around $800, maybe $900 definitely won't care, because we know that people buy 60 hertz iPhone 14, iPhone 15 models, and they don't care. They buy $1,200-$1,300 MacBook Air models with 60 hertz and no HDR, and they don't care. So it's not like there's like a hyper like a need for Apple to actually give us that much more impressive specs. I just think that Apple needs to have a better pitch. Now, to me, the iPad has always been a good pitch. It's somewhere between a laptop and a smartphone. It's more immersive than a laptop because it's a big sheet of glass. It's about multi-touch. But there comes a point though when it's more between the pricing of a Pro Max iPhone, right? If you configure the iPad Pro high up, and then like a MacBook Pro, a 16-inch. Well, there comes the point where people are like, look, bro, I don't have like $1,400-$1,500 for an iPhone, $2,800 for a MacBook, and then another $1,800 to $2,000 for an iPad. Especially once you consider stuff like the Magic Keyboard, the Apple Pencil 3, which, as we gotten from a leak right now, we might be called actually Apple Pencil Pro, which could mean that a cheap USB-C Apple Pencil might just become the Apple Pencil, and then like this one becomes the Apple Pencil Pro, and then we get rid of the confusing naming schemes, and then maybe we have like an $80 Apple Pencil and maybe like an $150 Apple Pencil. It would clean up the lineup a little bit, but it's still like the Apple Pencil lineup is a little confusing because the iPad lineup is a little confusing. So, but according to Mark Gurman, it's not really getting cleaned up today. It's mostly just getting updates for iPad Air and iPad Pro. Supposedly no iPad Mini with like an A17 chip today, no update to like the 10th gen iPad, no getting rid of officially of the 9th gen iPad, which is Apple's cheapest like $330 device. So again, it's not like Apple will solve every single iPad problem, right? Pricing, lineup issues, and obviously like Pro App support, macOS support. So it leaves like us features like OLED and the potential like M4 chip that are really standouts, right? OLED because Apple doesn't have anything in that size range that has OLED thus far. M4 because it's even like a generation ahead of where the MacBooks currently are. And in my opinion, I just find it hilarious to think that what will be the pitch be, right? It's not even hilarious. It's like it's kind of just difficult to imagine what will be Apple's pitch for a product that fundamentally still does the same things as like my M1 iPad Pro, right? And I'm a big supporter of iPads. So, you know, if I'm saying it, then a lot of people are saying it. And a lot of people are saying it way harsher than I am. It's also like just this event is so funny. It's like it's 4 p.m. In Germany, so I had to like find some free time for this, but I got myself ready, which is really good. But then it's like 7 a.m. in California, and I know a lot of people who watch me live are not actually like very representative of my overall audience, which is from India, Bangladesh, Pakistan a lot. But like the people watching me live are a lot from like the UK or the United States. And basically everyone I ask, it's like, bro, I don't know if I can even watch that event. I either work because it's in the middle of the workday, or it's night for me, or it's super early for me, and it's right before work. So I expect this stream to be uncharacteristically empty. Like we've had quite a lot of people tuning in, for example, to the Scary Fast event, because that was also at a crazy time, but then that crazy time was a lot better for my demographics. It's really funny to see how Apple experiments with timing. Some people have said that they might have done so for this event to make it it run better in China? I don't know, right? I know that it's a few hours later in China, so people are probably coming in from work and stuff like that, and now or from school, and having like now the time to watch something. So before I actually continue, I actually really want to see if the Apple YouTube page has been updated, because this is really weird the way Apple hides like their live events. They like go online a couple of minutes almost before before the event starts, which is like really weird. Like previously they had much larger gaps between that. Like you could start an event like an hour before that. I think you can still do like through the website, but like their YouTube page doesn't show me that, and the Apple TV app on my Apple TV, which I know is confusing branding, but like I'm looking at Apple here and viewing channel, and when I'm going live, there is May 7th. Okay, so I'm just gonna sync it to my TV, and then I hope that, by the way, that the internet bandwidth does not cost me too much here. Let's see if they even synchronize. Searching for devices. Oh my god, this is always so slow. Why can't I just do that on my Apple TV? Can you just start like YouTube? Sorry, by the way, that I have to move around a lot. I'm actually gonna now prepare myself more for what I'm actually gonna look like during the stream, because I obviously don't want to cover up my screen too much. So there's Apple. And why there? Oh, there it is. They actually pushed like their last Find Your Friends ad in front of the May 7th live stream. Oh, okay, thank you. So it starts in 3 minutes. Awesome, which means that I can disconnect my iPad, and now I can go back to checking my actual stream. And now I'll just put in my AirPods and hope. And yes, of course, my iPad immediately tried to hijack my AirPods, but now I can connect them to my Apple TV, which is. I hate doing stuff like this live, because it's usually all of this is so fun and intuitive, but then the second you do it live, like you get like nervous if the tech is not going to work or whatever, and if the video gets like if the audio gets like hijacked by one device or in the next. But yeah, it seems like it's working now, and I'm gonna just. Wait, is there no music precursor to that event? Live in 2 minutes. Okay, well, it seems like everything is working about as well as it can right now. Maybe I'll move it right. Yeah, this looks good too. At least I hope so. And I hope that I'm still you can still hear me well, because I've moved like my cables a little around. Oh yeah, it starts. Now I can hear it, and now I can see the animations. Whew. There was a lot of panic on my side on how this would work. And obviously I would try to do like a summary video tomorrow or something like that, unless there's something super confusing here. It's unfortunate though that you cannot like live stream the actual events like with a proper reaction, the way like I react to basically everything else, even when I do my very very unpopular PlayStation like state of play reactions. Yeah, not possible for, to do that with Apple. Okay, it seems like all is working. It seems like my internet is all right for now. I wonder if I should connect like my Apple TV to the personal hotspot of my iPad, but then I wonder if that would create any issues. Just briefly try it. Okay, it doesn't seem to be able to find my iPad. This is always when you try to do something like a little more out there, even though it always works for me. I've literally never had like personal hotspot issues, but I guess there it is. There's my iPad. Okay. It didn't work out for some reason. It literally never has issues like that, but whatever. I'm not gonna risk it. If my internet gets a little slow because of any of that, then I'll just hope that it still works fine. I definitely have the bandwidth though to make this work, to watch it and to upload a video, but you never know. I even get like a chat message in the morning that like a person won't be able to tune in live. It's so weird with those times. It reminds me of my completely irregular live streams and how they tend to like fully f with my algorithm for the channel. Oh, is this the actually official event, the animation, or is that still just an animation? Let me just move myself a little bit more like this. Okay, I can actually see the full TV, though it's covered partially by my microphone. Oh, hey, Tim. Good morning. It's all about iPad. Okay. Wow, biggest day for iPad since introduction. Apple Vision Pro, reminder. Okay. Okay, so it will be like a reminder that Vision Pro exists and people are building apps for it, like Porsche. Surgeons are using it, yeah? Oh my god, what, like, I just read some crazy news on Twitter because I was seeing if, like, Microsoft just closed 4 Bethesda studios today. They tried to capitalize on the Helldivers bad news. Jesus. Okay. MacBook Air M3, reminder. I still don't know, guys, if we're getting M4. MacBook Air is world's best-selling 13 and 15-inch laptop. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, iPad. Come on. I wonder which iPad they will start out with, right? If they will like go straight for the iPad Pro or do it like the iPhone approach where like the cheaper model comes first. I wonder if there will be any software features here they talk about. And they probably will like release a new iOS 17.5 beta, right? Across the iPad lineup updates. John Turnus, I guess. Jesus. I'm so nervous because it's not like I really bet anything on if it's M3 or M4, but I don't even know what I want to happen more. Of course I want a new processor to talk about. It's very good for the channel actually. But I don't know. Okay, they start with Air. Okay. They even brought up iMovie instead of Final Cut. That's like such a big FU to the pro community. Okay, new iPad Air. Now that's official. It's good. We haven't had gotten new iPads in quite a while. And yeah, it comes in 2 sizes. Makes sense. And it keeps the same design, basically. Is there anything dramatically different? Oh my god. The animations. Melody Kuna, director of iPad product design. That's interesting. They call it 11 and 13 inch, but that could still mean like 10.9 and 12.9. Interesting. Does it look like the bezels are smaller on the 13 inch one? Which would make sense if they put... Yeah, guys, I know the benefits of a larger screen. Oh, the front-facing camera moved. And they're showing it off with the old Magic keyboard. Oh, wow. But the Apple Pencil? Okay, so the colors are muted as F. Okay, iPad Air gets M2. So that rumor is correct. It's so good. Okay, they compare it to the A14 iPad Air, and because that's like... That's more likely to be like the device that people upgrade from. I don't think people will actually be upgrading from the M1 iPad Air. Oh my god. AI. Okay, the AI features they're showing thus far are the ones that already exist. Okay, now they're using it in third-party apps. Okay, it supports the amazing Apple Pencil. Does it support the Apple? Okay, it supports Apple Pencil Hover. Okay, that's all great. I just want like to know what the Apple Pencil support is looking like. Wi-Fi 6E, up to 1 TB of storage, which I assume means 64 GB is gone. They did mention a price. Give me a price. The 128 gig space storage. Okay. More stuff. Oh, my price predictions are correct. $599. Oh my god, $800 starting price for the 12-inch version. That's going to be good because for $900 you get 256 GB. Yes, it might not be promotion or whatever, but it's going to be a good deal. Yes, yes, really good. That you can definitely see the price pressure that was put on Apple just by the broader market. And now that we have 128 GB of base storage on the iPad Air, we do need 256 on the iPad Pro, in my opinion. I'm nervous. Because I just want to see what they like confirm what the but now the pricing would be insane. If the pricing is actually like 1,500 for like the 13-inch, that would make it double the price. Crush the limits of what you can do. Jesus Christ. You can also probably not not live stream Apple events because of the music. Oh my god, they're showing how thin it is because of the freaking... oh yeah, I know what this is. This is about how thin it is. Only the iPad that is 5.1 millimeters thick can survive. Okay, that's fun. And it's gonna get lifted up, and the only thing there is a 5 millimeter thick iPad Pro. Jesus, that looks so freaking thin. Oh my god, the cameras have the extra thickness. Is it slightly rounded? Yeah, it looks like the iPhone 15 Pro. Stunning design. It's slightly rounded. The bezel. And the camera is on the landscape side. Okay. 5.3, not 5.1. Okay, so they were off by 0.2 millimeters. Yeah. Okay, they really wanted to show that off. It's... Oh my god. What is the battery capacity if they reduced weight so much? Wait, are they calling it Space Black? Okay, OLED. Confirmed. I wonder if the resolution are different because of the different subpixel layout. Oh my god. Yeah, they're confirming it's a double layer. Okay, 2 panels stacked on top of each other, basically. Awesome. Tandem OLED. Which I don't know if that's their like custom name or if that's officially. Oh my god, oh my god, they beat it by so much. 1,000 nits of peak SDR brightness? Oh my god. Oh god. I wonder if there's changes to the resolution because of it. Responsive to content motion, yeah, the response time on OLED is like an order of magnitude better. Ultra Retina XDR. It's on both 11 and 13 inch. Yeah, this is amazing. Movie on a 4 by 3 4 by 3 aspect ratio screen. I don't even know if it's slightly rounded. Maybe just. Wow, they beat like the mini LED nano texture glass option. Yeah, I assume it's going to be what, $200 more. Yeah, it's more advanced now than the iPhone screen technically. Apple Silicon. Now this is okay. M2 in deal. Oh my god, it's the M4! Oh my god, he confirms that they're skipping M3! M4! Oh my god! Oh my god! What the? But they will still compare it to M2, right? So I will have to do the math very quickly in what that means for M3. Tim Miller is cool. It's N3E. It's second generation 3 nanometer. It's 10 to 120 hertz promotion. So it's not 1 to 120 hertz, quite like the iPhone. So it won't have an always on display. Show me, you powerful new CPU. 4 performance, 6 efficiency cores. Okay. 50% faster than M2. That means it's around 15 to... No, it's like 20%. Oh, it's multitasking. The GPU seems to be the same as on the M3 though. It's also a 10-core GPU. I kind of assumed it might be 12. Oh my god, 4 times faster than M2. What? They said about M3 that it's 3 times faster, right? What? M4 is twice as efficient as M2? What? From N5P to N3E? Same performance at half the wattage? What? And they didn't talk yet about the neural engine. The industry calls it's an NPU, not we. Since A11. Yep. 38 trillion operations per second. That puts it in a class of its own of anything in its performance class. But I wonder if 38 means it's just a higher clocked version of the A17 Pro ANE. 50% ProRes AV1 28 120 gigabits per second of unified memory bandwidth. So they're using, what would that be, like 7543 LPDDR5X? So not even like the fastest 8533, if I'm right with the numbers. They improved thermal performance. Graphite sheets on the processor. And copper in the Apple logo. Wow, Apple is like going... Oh my god. Yeah, original iPad Pro. Wait, we still have 12 minutes. iPad OS now. Oh my god, this thing is so beautiful. Oh, they're showing the Magic Keyboard. I can see the metal built Magic Keyboard. This is not the regular Magic Keyboard. This is not a drill. I'm so curious to see what the Geekbench results will be, because they're also advertising better thermals, not like equal thermals in the thinner chassis, 20% better thermals. I need to know what the battery capacity is inside. But what are the... Final Cut and Logic Pro 2. So those are major updates, which I assume they would advertise as being like basically on par with the Mac. Will Hui, product manager of Creative Apps. Okay. Then M1. Okay, 2 times. So those are Final Cut features they're just talking about. I'm not very familiar with Final Cut. This is a live stream channel, so I can add it, but I don't know what like the actual capabilities are of current Mac Final Cut versus iPad Final Cut. Okay, live multicam. Okay, that makes sense. Final Cut camera. But is it like a pro videography app? Yeah, they are making a Blackmagic camera competitor app. Okay, editing directly off a drive. No, what would be like? The M2 had 6400 mega transfers. 2 times that would be another like 1280 right on top. So that's 7880. Is there even like an exact memory specification like that? Well, we do know, by the way, now what some of the like thermal improvements will be for the A18 Pro. It's going to be based on N3E, so it's going to be much more efficient, apparently. And it's probably going to have even further advanced architecture than this iPad. It's also going to get faster memory, like this iPad, and it's going to get like a graphene sheet and probably copper in the Apple logo. I hope they make like Logic and Final Cut like shared subscriptions between Mac and iPad. It's just weird otherwise. I'm not a big audio guy, so I cannot really talk much about what they're showing with Logic. We're 7 minutes out. Will there be one last thing? Xcode. I don't know. Oh, really? Finally, some camera changes on the iPad. Okay, Smart HDR4. Wait, they took away the ultra wide? Which in my opinion is the correct way. You don't need ultra wide on the. Nice, nice. Okay. Wait, how is it? How is it the completely new charging and pairing with the Apple Pencil? What has changed? Okay, interesting. Function row on the Magic Keyboard. Oh, haptic feedback trackpad. So yeah, it had to be thicker for that. Oh, this Magic Keyboard is going to be so expensive. Apple Pencil. Yeah. New Apple Pens, but it has to be like the iPad Air also has to be compatible with it. Like I assume it's just like thinner, right? But like you can put a thinner one on like with like a bigger magnet or with a stronger magnet on the iPad Air. They look the same for now. Like they haven't zoomed in yet. Apple Pencil Pro, okay. Okay. My god, there's so much tech in there. Jesus Christ. Haptic feedback, gyros. It supports Find My. I assume though that like the next like cheap iPad will get that new landscape camera with the new magnet mechanism where they don't interfere with each other. The Procreate guys. Apple is still unmatched in their approach to technology, in my opinion. Procreate Dreams is like their animation app, right? Then that's cute. They said it's 50% faster for the chip, for the CPU, which I assume is multi-threaded because it also has like more efficiency cores. But I really need to see Geekbench results here. This also bodes well for the next gen Macs. Though I wonder if Macs might skip the M4, like the base M4. God, I wonder what it costs. Jesus Christ, I'm now afraid of the price. This device is better than I expected. There, yeah. Oh yeah, they cleaned it up. 5G. Okay, apparently no Wi-Fi 7 or something like that. Okay. I believe you. Double the storage? Okay. My pricing prediction! Oh my god, it's just $12.99! And the Magic Keyboard is the same price. $129, the same price as before? The pricing is actually super fair, guys. It's amazing. $100 price drop on the 10th gen iPad? And they're cleaning a house by removing the 9th gen? So that only leaves iPad mini? My god, they really doubled down on better pricing. This is... Apple went aggressive on pricing, similar to what they did with the 15 and 15 Pro in Europe when they reduced prices. This is a great update across the board. The website is not yet updated. They haven't said when it's available, right? But my god, the pricing is so freaking aggressive. Apple event, iPad Pro supercharged by M2. I kind of read either as iPad Pro supercharged by M4 or as iPad Air supercharged by M2, but it's neither. Oh, and they have like a full-on comparison page on the website that will be very useful once the website is updated. Guys, this was way better than I expected. We got M4, we got OLED that is brighter than I thought, we got a thinner design that is still like actually has better cooling capacity, so they actually like advertise like better performance due to better cooling. Now that only basically leaves battery life, because Wi-Fi, I don't care about the difference between Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 7. like, could it be even faster memory bandwidth or something like that? Because they said it's 120 gigabits per second, and kind of expected it to be 133, I believe it would be, if they went with 8533 mega transfers per second LPDDR5X. None of this really matters. This device looks freaking phenomenal, and the fact that the Apple Pencil Pro is the same price despite adding Find My, haptic feedback, gyroscope, that new for that new tilt gesture, they have like better hover stuff with, like, granted that is software, but like, yeah, my god. I'll just keep updating the website, but it's not yet here. We had a ton of people tuning in, which I assume is now people who actually watch the event can now watch me. So I will try to stay on for a while so we can actually discuss all of this. Well, let me just briefly manage my screens here. Kevox Christ, the whole event was shot in iPhone again. Thought it was an expensive camera. Yeah, and they also introduced like a new, like, people criticized them for using like the Blackmagic app. And now it seems like they have like their own like pro app. Gary, you're saying the website is updated. I'll keep on being here. Oh, yeah. Oh, is it? No. It's not. Why are you lying to me? They showed the new Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil is the only thing that I see as new on the... Well, but it still shows like second generation. What's going on? What website are you guys checking? Because I'm just on the official apple.com for like English website. You know what? I'm just stretching out the website. It's private browsing. And I'm gonna just move myself here to the side. Hopefully it's not too big or too little. Guys, please always let me know. Is the audio working all right for you and stuff like that? Obviously, I don't want to mess this up. It's kind of important. iPad Pro. It's still M2. Why does it? Is the German website updated? No, it's not. Going to their... Introducing the... Oh, there it is. Watch the Apple event. There it is. No, it's still not like... Here, guys, you can see this. For one, click away, right? But here, we have iPad Air. We have iPad Pro. But they're individual sides. So, like, iPad Pro is the thinnest Apple product. Gary, you dropped the link in chat on store shop. Oh, you think that if I go to shop. Did they mention when the Final Cut camera app is being released? I wonder how it measures up to the Blackmagic. I don't know. Like, it will probably be... Well, the iPad is starting available on, basically, you can order in a week. The iPad Air is also the same. Okay, so at least that availability is clean up. Okay, so we do have... wait, which Air is that? That's still the old Air as far as I know. Learn more. They do have like... Okay, you're saying chat on store shop the latest. The problem is I cannot trick like the website like this. There, well, I can buy it, right? Okay, so this is if we bought it. And it's available in 2 finishes, which they removed one camera on the back, which if that allowed them to further drop pricing a little, the keyboard looks so good the way it's shown here. Okay, so it's $9.99. That makes sense, which is... Guys, this is just $100 more expensive than previously what 256 gigabyte cost. So it's pro camera. Wait, they say it's pro cameras, which I assume means front and back camera, and landscape pro cameras with LiDAR. Explore the iPad Pro further. You see, this website is still not here. Jesus, Apple, faster. Must go faster. Here, there's like the iPad and there's the iPad mini. And is the iPad mini actually now available with more storage is my question. No, so the iPad mini is now a terrible deal given the lineup. Wow, thanks Apple. But we know, like, this is now, I can now 100% tell you to not buy the iPad mini. The value just isn't there. Like, you would have to wait until it's And then the iPad 10th generation is just like the A14 version. It's basically like, yeah, it's that iPad, but for $100 less. So it's almost the price I didn't expect. I kind of expected it would go down to $399, maybe at best like $369. Apple likes those kinds of like $30 jumps. This is actually a really, really good price. $349 for this. Yes, it is 64 gigabytes, right? But that means 256 is now $499. That is actually, like, it's not amazing, right? But 256 gigabytes from Apple for $500, yeah, you won't be getting better. Which, by the way, I assume that also means now that the per gigabyte price on storage probably hasn't changed, right? So we go with Space Black, we pay $200 here, we pay $400 here, because this is not just more storage, this is also more memory. And the nano texture glass is available for $100, but only on the 1 and 2 terabyte versions. Okay, it's not as outrageous. It's not outrageous at all. Cellular costs $200. Yep, that makes sense, given that this is the most expensive iPad. Engraving is free, so my version would kind of be like 1 terabyte, because I definitely don't need 2 terabytes. Definitely don't need the nano texture glass, and I do like my cellular, so it's $17.99. In the US, I assume it would be like $2,300, 2,300 euro. Let's go to the website. There, iPad Pro. Okay, guys, we are here, and so is the iPad Pro. It's thin possible. That's cute. Okay, let's start. So the 13-inch model is 5.1 inches, and the 11-inch. Okay, should I go to tech specs at first? I think tech specs just makes sense. For one, I just want to say, Apple, thank you. Like, 4 storage configs is still, in my opinion, too much. In my opinion, you should charge $400 to just go from 256 to 1 terabyte, also with more memory. But you do want the higher profit, so yeah, I can see why the 512 gigabyte version exists. So it's compare iPad. I need to compare iPad. I think that's the best one. So iPad Pro 11-inch 14th gen. That's no, what? More iPad Pro models. Wait, where's the most current one? Oh, it's not yet here, right? Oh, I need to know the battery capacity of the old configuration. Does it say? For one, the weight, what used to be 1.03 pounds, so it's just 20 grams lighter, so that bodes well. And when it comes to battery, it doesn't say it in this. It only says that if you go to like detailed iPad Pro 11-inch 4th gen tech specs. Apple usually shows that stuff for slightly older devices. Technical specifications. Yes, it also includes even stuff like memory and stuff like that. 100 gigabit. Yep, this is the correct model. True depth camera. Where's battery? Power and battery, 28.65 watt hours. Let's see what the thinning down brought us or cost us. So buttons, we have here we have the, wait, where is Face ID now here? Which is or am I crazy as well? It comes still with the 20 watt USB-C power adapter, which is cute. In my opinion, it should be like the 30 watt. It's tandem OLED. It's the same 264 ppi. It's ProMotion between 10 Hz and 120 Hz. It's 1000 nits of SDR bright. This was previously 600 nits. That's a big upgrade. 9-core CPU. Oh, wow, interesting. There's now a performance differential. And now Apple is more aggressively advertising even like the memory differences here. Interesting, but yeah, it's 8 and 16 gigabytes, so it's going to be interesting. I kind of bet that M4 would be when Apple starts making 12 gigabyte the base memory configuration, but I bet that for Macs, not for iPad, so I actually don't know if I'm here right or wrong. And here you get like 9-core CPU with 3 performance cores and 6 efficiency cores, and but you get still the full GPU. So this is actually the most interesting kind of binning that Apple has ever done. This is fascinating stuff. I just really want to find, where's battery? Power and battery. It's a larger battery. It's a larger battery on the 11-inch version. It's 31.3 versus 28.65. And it's a lighter, thinner device with a better screen that is probably more energy efficient for most tasks, except for when you put it at max brightness. Guys, this is freaking amazing engineering. And iPad Pro's 38.9, which I believe the previous one was about like 40. So this isn't that big of a difference, even if it's a downgrade. iPad Pro 13-inch, 5th gen? Or would it be like 6th gen? 5th gen is which one? 5th gen is M1, that is my iPad Pro. It's 40.88, so it's a very small reduction in battery capacity on the 13-inch model. And when we actually compare it to the 6th gen version, guys, we now have more people tuning in. Please let me know what you think of the event, what you think of the pricing, what you think of everything. And as always, if you're enjoying this, please subscribe, like, share, comment. And if you feel like supporting this channel directly, leave a super chat or a super sticker. And if you want to support me directly long term, my Patreon link is in the description of this channel. And this iPad, the M2 version, had 4... I believe I just skipped over battery, right? Because I briefly saw like 40.99. Yeah, it's 40.88. Okay, so it's actually a small increase here and a very small decrease here. So they're pretty well balanced. If the screen is actually much more efficient, then they could both be absolutely amazing. And then the difference here would just be for the bigger screen size, which they said like the screen difference there is like around 30%. That's roughly what we get here. So yeah, this is fantastic, fan-freaking-tastic actually. So let's start actually at the bottom. Let's see how Apple advertises it. The redesigned iPad Air, 2 portable sizes, M2 chip, landscape front camera, and beautiful new colors. So it's available in 11 and 13-inch models. We'll see right away if those are if it's a 10.9-inch screen, which I assume like 12.9 is across the board. John Astra, it's $1,300 to play match 3 games. No, it's not. It's about to use stuff like Procreate. It's even about stuff like iMovie and Final Cut and Logic. It's about people who want to have like the lowest possible wait time in opening any app across even like Pages, Keynote, and Numbers. It's about playing games like Call of Duty Mobile, which actually scale pretty well. It's about playing newer games like Assassin's Creed Mirage and Death Stranding 2, which are more demanding, or even Resident Evil 4 Remake. It's about working even with like 3D files and doing some augmented reality work. It's not just match 3 games. I'm sorry, that's objectively not true. Yes, iPadOS was not gonna get a huge from the ground up redesign today. It's not WWDC, and they don't even have an accessory that is brand new like the Magic Keyboard was in 2020. But yeah, it's still fantastic in my opinion. So all colors. So we do have blue, which is barely blue, purple, a little purple, starlight, my least favorite color there, and then space gray, So they're thin and light. They're very, very similar basically in form factor to the iPad Pro. Yeah, so this is just a slightly different perspective. You get two sizes, 11 and 13 inch. Dive into the display. Wow, what is there actually to talk about? It's just about the size difference. 2732 by 2048. That means it's pretty much exactly 12.9 inches at 264 ppi. I would be very shocked if it was something different. Stunning advanced display, P3 wide color gamut. It's now 600 pic nits on the 13-inch model, so I assume it has a slightly more modern panel than the smaller version. But yeah, across the board, this is basically just a slightly updated screens, and I assume that the iPad Air, that the smaller iPad Air keeps the 500 nits. Flat out flies. It's M2, which the 50% is basically for tasks that are very memory bandwidth dependent, because M2 here has like 50% faster memory. Then we have all the like 15% faster CPU, 25% faster GPU. iPhone, MacBook, and my Vision Pro. No need for an iPad anymore. Well, John, the problem is this is an amazing perspective for Apple, because now instead of selling you a device that you complain is $1,300, and $1,300 by the way for 256 gigabytes, now you're paying $3,500 for a device with the same storage configuration. So don't come at me, bro. Come at Apple for basically upselling you on an even more expensive solution. Of course, it's an amazing like device, and it's an amazing like a portfolio of devices that you have across iPhone, MacBook, and Vision Pro. You probably don't need an iPad. It's actually interesting, we haven't talked during the event if the Apple Pencil Pro is Vision Pro compatible. It might be, it might not be. Maybe they will talk about that during WWDC, but who knows. But you cannot really complain that like Vision Pro replaced iPad for you. That's not iPad's fault. That's the achievement of Vision Pro. That's a high achievement. Lickety chip, faster by design. This is funny. So 50% faster memory bandwidth, 15% faster CPU, 25% faster graphic. This is so interesting because they say it's the M4 is 50% faster than M2, but I really need to know the single core results. 8-core CPU, 10-core GPU, 16-core neural engine, 100 gigabytes per second, 15.8 trillion operations per second. So yeah, it's just the regular M2 chip. There isn't anything crazy here. So if we go just to tech specs, shouldn't be anything crazy. We have doubled the storage basically across the board, which I would assume also means the same for pricing. The battery capacity, because it's for one, display brightness, small discrepancy because between the smaller and the larger model. I kind of assume because this is just like, wait, which panel is that using? Well, I assume it's just a lesser cut version because they now say it's 11 inches, but it's 23. Wait, compare. iPad. Oh, there it goes. There I can actually compare stuff. So iPad Air M2, and I compared versus iPad Air M1. Where's iPad Air M1? There. This is, I believe, is iPad Air M1. So yeah, it's 10.9 versus 11 inches. Okay. So it basically should also now have the slightly slimmer bezels of the previous Pro. And Wi-Fi plus cellular is actually $50 less expensive on the Air than on the Pro. Yeah, that makes also some sense given how the arrangement works with Qualcomm, but also because Apple likes higher profits. Which like the up pricing for like, by the way, for 5G on the 10th gen iPad is so insane. Go from $349 to $499. Okay, so let us just get back to the full web page and then we can compare, right? So the sensors are about the same. I believe this now got Wi-Fi 6E, right? It's Bluetooth 5.3. It's Wi-Fi 6 Wi-Fi 6 with 2.2 MIMO. Which, yes, those are the specifications of the basically the M2 iPad Pro. So the M2 iPad Air is basically the M2 iPad Pro without like ProMotion or Mini LED on the larger version, but it has the repositioned camera, it has the support for Apple Pencil Pro. We'll get to if the Apple Pencil Pro supports older iPads, but yeah, at least for the iPad Air, this is it's much cleaner of a solution. I like this lineup right now. But now we get to the iPad Pro. Let's see what the website is. So it's 5.1 millimeters on the 13-inch model, and they said that the 11-inch model is like 5.3, which is actually interesting because that would explain the small discrepancy of one actually having a slightly smaller battery capacity and the smaller version having actually a slightly larger battery capacity. So Ultra Retina XDR, the world's most advanced display, extreme brightness and precise contrast. I assume the next iPad Pro adds like always on display by getting a 1 to 120 Hz ProMotion refresh rate. Paul, I've been using an iPad Pro as my main device already for 5 years, as have I for the most part. I got the MacBook Pro for stuff like this, like streaming, but yeah, I've been using iPads since like the iPad 1, but ever since like the original iPad Air, I've been using them kind of as my main devices. You got really disappointed after the presentation today. Paul, please tell me why, because I definitely don't share this. By the way, let me please center myself. Why would you be disappointed? Like, did you expect them to like tell us about a huge like iPad OS change? That just it wasn't ever in the cards for this event. I think the new iPads are basically exactly what they should have been. Redesigned thinner Magic Keyboard, comfortable typing, and haptic trackpad experience. Given that those are the same price, I wonder, does that mean the old Magic Keyboard gets a price discount? We'll have to check the accessories page later on. So, Thrill Slicker. The all-new iPad Pro packs astonishing power into an unbelievably thin, light, and portable design. Push the limits of what's possible on iPad with a super portable 11-inch model and expansive 13-inch model that is the thinnest Apple product has ever created. Is that why it's 5.1 millimeters? Was that iPad Nano thing like 5.2 or something? Dive into materials and design. Wait, that's actually interesting because they should be mentioning like thermals and stuff like that here, right? iPad Pro comes with next level performance and ultra sleek design so you can do your best work anywhere you go. The 13-inch model is nearly a quarter of a pound lighter than the previous generation. Really, despite such a negligible battery capacity difference, that's actually impressive, giving you unmatched capability and portability. So this is space black, but everything they make it look just like space gray here. iPad Pro comes in 2 great finishes, silver and space gray. It's 100% recycled aluminum. It's also 100% recycled rare earth metals. Okay, they don't speak about the thermals in the design, probably when we go to the chip. But first we have to talk about the Ultra Retina XDR display, the world's most advanced display. OLED its shine. OLED its shine, I'm stupid. Extremely extraordinary full screen brightness, unparalleled precision breakthrough tandem OLED. The combined light of 2 OLED panels generates amazing brightness and extreme dynamic range performance. Better pick visual performance with next level XDR performance. That makes sense because the XDR is now basically pixel perfect. It doesn't have to match like any of the backlight zones of a mini LED panel or anything like that. And it's even more responsive to content in motion that comes from OLED having basically like instantaneous pixel response times, which LCD doesn't have and mini LED specifically doesn't have, because there's also always an algorithm running in the background deciding what backlight zones to activate or not. Specular highlights, 2 million to 1 contrast ratio. This is the contrast ratio Apple likes to advertise. It's basically an infinite contrast ratio because we are talking perfect blacks and pixel by pixel contrast. But yeah, Apple likes to go very precise. And nano texture glass, we talked about it. It's available only on the 1 and 2 terabyte models, but it's only an $100 upcharge. So if you're somebody who really needs to use the iPad in very bright environments, this might actually be kind of a no-brainer given that Apple's nano texture display, which by the way, this is a very, very good example of like trickle down technology, because nano etched glass like started on the Pro Display XDR for like $1,000. And now it's on the iPad for $100, and in between it came like to the iMac. I wonder if it's also gonna come to. It's also Apple's first like touchscreen device that has this. So I probably wouldn't want it, but it's still like great that it actually made its way here. Guys, you're so many here. Please leave a like, subscribe, share, comment, all the YouTube jazz as I call it. If you feel like supporting me directly, leave a super chat or a super sticker, or consider subscribing to my Patreon, which you can find the link in the channel description. So yeah, nano texture glass, that's what you would expect it to. It's even less glare. Stream constellation of Apple TV Plus. Okay, so 1000 nits full screen brightness, both for SDR and HDR content. 1600 nits peak brightness, that's for a portion of the screen. P3 Pro Motion. It's actually interesting how aggressive Apple is honest about like it being 10 to 120 hertz, not like 1 to 120 hertz. So this is why I speculate the next iPad Pro, the M5 version or the M6 or whatever, is going to be 1 to 120 hertz. 2 million to 1 contrast ratio, true tone, all the stuff that we are familiar with basically. Here's performance, right? M4 rocket chip, 4 times faster rendering performance than M2, 1.5 times faster CPU performance than M2. Introducing M4, the next gen of Apple Silicon. Outrageous performance, an exceptionally thin and light design, entirely new display engine, a powerful GPU with hardware accelerated ray tracing, and the neural engine in M4 makes it an absolute powerhouse for AI. Paul, you're saying, no, you're right, the new version is great. Just dreamed about an iPad's ecosystem moving to macOS. But it's delusional idea, you know. Thanks for streaming now and sharing your thoughts. Well, thank you, Paul, for tuning in, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. It's not like I judge people who disagree with me about what the iPad is supposed to be. But you have to kind of like appreciate, like, there's a very specific intent that makes the iPad that in my opinion gives it special attention, like the way we got mini LED on iPad first, the way we got Pro Motion first on iPad before we got it on any other Apple product, the way that Apple tries to innovate on certain UI elements like Stage Manager, for example. The way that certain apps are very, very much built for not just like touch input in general, but like the Apple Pencil specifically. You saw how like the Procreate guys integrated so much cool stuff, so many shortcuts basically. And now with like the gyroscope and anything, it's I don't think those things would be the same if the iPad also had the excuse of being a Mac. I think the iPad is the way it is because people who are building it do believe that it's very different and therefore it deserves different treatment. I know a lot of people will still scream like, what am I going to do with hardware like this if I still don't have the apps? Now Apple does update Pro apps. I still believe that they need to do more. Don't get me wrong. I still believe iPad needs Xcode, not because everyone needs Xcode, but why shouldn't like a programmer, now that this is like so much faster, has a great screen, so they might use it like the way programmers like to, with like a perfect black background and then just white code on it. Why shouldn't it? And in my opinion, it should. But the idea that it should also just be a Mac, this is where I disagree. In my opinion, the frameworks are so similar that it shouldn't take Apple too much effort to create like an Xcode app that works well on iPad and on Mac. But I almost wonder if, for example, like an Xcode, because it's rumored to get like new AI features, if it might just make more sense for Apple to show it at WWDC. Because for one, it's a developer app, and second, it's probably going to integrate more with like the kind of AI stuff that Apple has. And then there's all that jazz about like iOS 18, iPadOS 18, the next version of macOS. Maybe there's still a lot more stuff to come. It's not like I'm not trying to give you false hope, but we are not nearly done yet. In just a month, we're basically getting a lot of new Apple stuff. But let's continue with M4. It's a rocket chip. Oh wow, that's punny. Extreme performance by design. It's built on a second generation 3 nanometer technology. That's N3E versus N3B in M3, and that's versus N2P, N5P. I'm sorry, that was powering the M2 chip. It's even more power efficient and delivers all-day battery life. The CPU includes up to 4 performance cores. We saw a bint version comes with 3 performance cores, 6 efficiency cores, and the higher version comes with 4 performance cores and 6 efficiency cores. For advanced tasks like instantly adding demanding effects to 4K video. So this is 10-core CPU performance. Okay, so it's 50% wait, but that isn't 50% faster, right? That's double. 120 gigabytes bandwidth, 4 times 3D render performance. Is it 50%? Or does it looks almost double? Maybe my eyes are deceiving me. Maybe it's like a wrong graph or something like that. So I said it before, that's the 10-core CPU performance. 10-core CPU performance. Yeah, 4 plus 6, and that's versus the 8-core M2, I assume. Yeah. Graphics at light speed. Now, this is actually where I would like to go into the MacBook section and see how the MacBook Air gets compared with its M3 versus the M2. What does Apple say here? M3, there needs to be like a pop-up page for M3. A chipload of power. They compare it mostly against M1. Damn. Learn how 13-inch. There. Faster video editing performance. Which is interesting because they didn't talk about actually that much more video editing performance on M3, but they said that specifically M4 is a lot faster than M2. So do they have new media engines even over the M3? Which the M3 is when we got AV1 on M series Apple chips. So that would be quite a fast redesign. Gaming. Do they have like general performance here? No, they don't. Jesus Christ. Notebook check M3 versus M2. Do they have like tests? M2 Pro, remove from comparison. Do we have benchmarks here? M3, that's Cinebench. Geekbench, is there Geekbench? The reason why I'm choosing Geekbench, by the way, is not because it's like best case for Apple. It's because it's one I'm very familiar with and it's easy to compare. M3 versus M2. Can I remove the M2 Pro here? Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good. Now we can do some solid math. Geekbench in multi-core here is can I do them in reverse? It's basically 18% faster. So to get that to up to 50%, the M4 would basically need to be like 25% faster than M3, unless Apple is using like very different stuff. A single core, they don't even, I don't know if they talk about single core here, but I also wanted like ray tracing stuff specifically. The next generation GPU architecture of M4 brings even faster rendering performance and hardware accelerated ray tracing to iPad for the first time. Light, shadows, and reflection in pro apps and games look incredibly vibrant and realistic. Dynamic caching optimizes on-chip memory. Hardware accelerated mesh shading uses improved geometry. So that's all. Those are features that we already knew for M3. That's actually like, do we get like Metal Effects upscaling as advertised? Because it now needs to be here, right? Like, it didn't come to M3 because, as I assume, because it wasn't as fast of a neural engine, or is its throughput simply not good enough for the faster GPU? Does it only make sense on the smaller A17 Pro GPU? Command F. Metal. No results. Okay. Interesting. Why don't they talk more about Metal Effects upscaling? The M4 neural engine accelerates AI workloads, takes machine learning and iPad to the next level. Capable of an astounding 38 trillion operations per second, M4 lets you do things like isolate the subject from its background in 4K video with just a tap, or automatically create musical notation in real time. Yeah, those are all fine things. Like a more advanced media engine with hardware acceleration for everyone allows more power efficient playback of higher resolution video. Playback can edit up to 5 streams of 4K ProRes RAW. Why is there no, like, did they not say how much faster the ray tracing here is? They're saying this is the 3D render performance versus M2. What does Apple advertise here? Like 3D rendering over this is over M1. So I cannot just, but it looks basically like 3.5, 4x or something like that. Oh, this is so unsatisfying. And nobody tests stuff like that, right? Like PRT, no idea what those tests, some of those tests are. Blender. Wait, how do you test? Oh, okay, they tested it on the MacBook Air. I'm sorry, I was stupid for a second. But that's not true. That's not the Blender difference. Did they test it on on a bad early version? That's not what I usually see in Blender results. Okay, we will really need to like dive deep into it. Like, there's just so much. We will have to see how the faster memory improves, like 6400 times 1.2. That's 7680 LPDDR5X. Does such memory even exist? Because I haven't seen such memory yet in a laptop. 7680 LPDDR5X. In fact, just for precision, 7680, that's Dell. That's a Dell device. Wait, how do they get 20% faster memory bandwidth? Do they do they round up a little from like the 7400 version? Because it cannot be the 8533 mega transfers version, because that is a third faster. Then Apple would advertise 133 gigabytes per second. There's so many unknowns here. Guys, if you know anything, please let me know. Let us be in the know together. And they don't say if M4 is in any way improved over M3, because why would they, right? They still want to sell you on 3. Gary, thanks for watch along, liked and subscribe. Oh, thank you, Gary. The M4 drop was wild. The note to Procreate and Affinity and not mentioning Photoshop Illustrator made me lol. Well, you kind of have to understand, like, there's a difference between, like, those apps, for one, like the target audience, because it's the iPad versus a Mac. Procreate is legitimately one of the most popular, like, creation apps on iPad. And there's also a loyalty aspect that I think Apple needs to show to developers like the Procreate guys. Like, Procreate has been such a key part of, like, the Apple ecosystem and of the iPad support and stuff like that. I think it just makes a lot of sense. By the way, anybody who's tuning in now, this is, I've unboxed this in the beginning of the stream. You can probably see in the reflection that I have my iPad next to me with the live chat and stuff like that. Yeah, we got our silver play button. So if you're tuning in, you're basically helping me get to the next play button, which is very, very much appreciated. So yeah, I just wanted to give a quick little shout out to this. And I'll have to find a nice where to put it up then later on, but probably not before next week because my drill is broken, as I found out recently. So I'm probably gonna go out and buy one on the weekend. Okay, let's see. That's for M4 on the website. Why cannot I click on stuff? Okay, this mouse is sometimes acting up weird. Okay, so it's 4 times faster rendering than M2. Okay, but how much faster rendering is M3 versus M2, right? Because this doesn't help me. Okay. Yeah, why do we need to compare it against the 13-inch version here? The 13, there wasn't no 15-inch M1. Like, do they say more on the MacBook Pro website? Guys, my websites just are acting up weird for some reason. Like, I cannot click buttons or whatever. MacBook Pro. And let's see what they say about the M3. But then they will say a lot about M3 Pro and M3 Max, so it's not... I have no idea what that issue currently is. Okay, I cannot click any of this. Okay, so I'll just... Okay, there. M3. So let's see how those comparisons actually, like, compare. And what is going on? Go deeper on M3 chips. My Safari is, like, since the last beta, my Safari is having, like, some issues. Go deep. There it is. Jesus Christ, what was that? Okay, so this is versus M1 versus M2. Okay, so they do have... But they don't have a 3D rendering workflow. No, Apple, what are you doing to me? Image upscaling, video editing, image processing, code compile. Rook Talon, I have not seen you here yet. Welcome to the stream, brother. What are your thoughts on the Apple Pencil Pro? I'm particularly interested because haptic feedback will allow me to draw. Only thing, the two things that were missing basically from it were official Apple Vision Pro support, but as I've said, that might actually be like... something that, like, they introduce a WWDC with, like, the next version of Vision OS. But also I would say that when it comes to and the only thing that other was missing were, like, the changeable tips that were supposed to feel different, but I assume that's kind of now done more with the haptic feedback, right? and Apple just optimizes like the tip to just feel good with the screen. I'm blind, and it could be a real decent accessibility feature. My God, bro, of course, yeah. It would be basically a little bit like Braille language, but for drawing. Yeah, that's actually really cool and really awesome accessibility benefit. Let Apple know, by the way, if you're doing something crazy or fun, very creative with that. They love featuring stories like that. You could show up in like an Apple event or whatever. Or Tim could just write you a nice message in return. So yeah, Apple does not give me enough data. Well, video editing here is barely any faster. 6 to 7.4x is like about 20% faster, 25 at best. And Apple does not simply give us the same like because it's an iPad, they don't give us as many like sort of benchmarky results, but they do say it's 38 trillion operations per second. This compares to 18 on the M3, and this compares to 35 on the iPhone. So I kind of assume that this is the same neural engine as the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but clocked a little higher because N3 is just better than N3B apparently. And the crazy efficiency jump to me was the promise that M4 consumes half the power of M2 at not at its maximum performance, but basically when equalized for the maximum performance of M2. Rock, for those who can see, is OLED really an upgrade, or is it not a big deal? It depends. I would say over mini LED it might actually not be a big deal. Over standard LCD LED it definitely is. Like but it also just comes with the difference, right? You could have gotten like a much brighter mini LED screen, and you could have gotten like 100 times as many backlight zones, right? Would have similar results, but then there's still like the motion performance of OLED. So the way that I really like when something happens really fast. While LCD tends to smear a little, like you need like a 360 Hz LCD panel to really not feel a lot of smear on the screen, while with OLED the pixels change so fast that even at the same like refresh rate of 120 Hz, it will feel smoother and faster than LCD does. I would say 120 Hz OLED still beats handily out like 240 Hz LCD. And then of course the HDR differences, and it might be hard to explain to somebody who is vision impaired, but there's like a blooming issue. If you use like a mini LED screen in the dark and you have like a dark background and bright text, around that text there's like a shine, a bloom, because obviously you don't have pixel perfect like brightness control. I've heard people are complaining over no promotion display. They're complaining about that on the iPad Air. The iPad Pro of course has promotion. In fact, it probably has like the best promotion screen ever. But yeah, no, iPad Air sticks with 60 Hz because Apple does, and this was, if Apple had dramatically increased pricing on iPad Air, I would be complaining, but double the base storage at the same price, we're finally fixing the camera layout, and then only a $200 upcharge for the larger version, for, by the way, for both Air and Pro, which is fun. In my opinion, this really works out well. In my opinion, this justifies the shortcomings of iPad Air. I think the iPad Pro is still a better device, but it also is noticeably more expensive. Like 256 gigabytes on iPad Air cost you $699. On the 11-inch version, they cost you $999 on the iPad Pro. So you really have to consider those price differences, and obviously that explains why one then has a newer chip and a newer screen. Yeah, so we don't have that much data. It seems like M4 is really noticeably more powerful than M3 when it comes to multi-threaded tasks with its 6 efficiency cores. They do not talk about single core performance, but they do seem to have. But it, bless me, I guess. But it seems to be more efficient than M3 by a lot. Probably like a 20% efficiency jump over M3, which this to me suggests that this, I don't know if the CPU is actually a new architecture. They said it's actually a new architecture, so I don't know if that means it could be like ARMv9 or something like that. Obviously, Apple does a lot of customization. It doesn't matter if Apple is on ARMv8 or ARMv9, but ARMv9 could be like a good reference point if Apple just put a lot of more new stuff versus M3. iPadOS and apps. Now, it seems like they don't advertise like faster storage or something like that, so I assume this would still be like 3.5 gigabytes per second. It's still like Thunderbolt 4 / USB 4. So I don't know what it actually means for Macs. Maybe the M4 Pro, M4 Max chips could then get like PCIe 5.0, and not that, by the way, the next version of USB or Thunderbolt 5, it doesn't even need PCIe 5. It technically needs PCIe 4, but it just, you have to consider the lanes, and Apple doesn't have that many PCIe lanes on their smallest chips. Alexander Niamian, will the M2 iPad support the new Pencil? Yes, the iPad Air supports the Apple Pencil Pro, as does the iPad Pro. So it's called Pro, but it's not iPad Pro exclusive. And I actually want to see what is it compatible with. So we talked about iPad Air. We talked about a lot of things about iPad Pro, not yet everything. But it has a squeeze gesture. Apple Pencil can sense when you squeeze it. So I guess that's just the further evolution of the double tap gesture that you currently can do. And it brings a new palette, so you can choose then between like your tools. It has barrel roll, so let's go through what those things look like. Barrel roll. A new gyroscope allows you to rotate Apple Pencil for precise control. So for the original Apple Pencil, it was like tilt, but now it's really like gyroscope is basically tilt in 3-dimensional space. Well, tilt is also 3-dimensional technically, but you know what I mean. It's much more primitive in that way. So that's cool. Haptic feedback. A custom haptic engine provides precise feedback that you can feel. When you squeeze or double tap, you'll feel a light pulse confirming the action. So it doesn't say what the haptic feedback exactly does while drawing, but it definitely works while you like interact with like the hidden buttons on it. Rook, they mentioned you can play full AAA video games on the iPad. Is this true? Well, it depends on the support, right? Like you can already play some AAA games across like the iPhone 15 Pro and M1, M2 iPads even. Stuff like Death Stranding was like ported. It was like a demanding PS4 game. Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is a beautiful title from Capcom. Assassin's Creed Mirage is coming in summer to iPhone and iPad, unfortunately not somehow to the Mac. And then when you just consider that Mac also has like some apps, some games that work through Steam but not the App Store, but then they work perfectly fine on M1 and M2 MacBook Airs, then yeah, those things should also in theory run on iPad. And I would also add, if you are in Europe, for example, and you are subject to the DMA, which means that the iPad will get site loading around iPadOS 18, and then with site loading you might get, or alternative marketplaces, you might get a lot more gaming out of the iPad, like especially if you get like a 16 gigs of RAM M4 version. You could install like emulators for like relatively modern system and just enjoy the crap out of them. Granted, that's not quite as good as native AAA support, but you sometimes have to take what you can get, unfortunately. Apple Pencil Hover, that is now coming to the iPad Air because this is an M2 or up feature, and double tap still works. Ready when inspiration strikes. So Find My, you can locate it. And iPad Pro works with Apple Pencil and Apple Pencil Pro. So the Apple Pencil Pro replaces the Apple Pencil 2 at the same $129. And that crappy Apple Pencil, which currently, in my opinion, only exists because of iPad 10th generation, is basically just a cheaper version. You have to connect it via cable, you have to charge it in a weird way, but it costs $80 versus $129. So in my opinion, this is such an easy W, but this thing, for example, simply doesn't work on the 10th gen iPad. So this is the only like modern Apple Pencil that does work there. Explore more Apple Pencil features. Okay, we probably have to see what it's compatible with, right? And I assume that would be set on like the order now page, because they said it has a new magnetic attachment mechanism. Delivers May 15. Pickup, check availability, overview, what's in the box, text pack, compatibility. There it goes. Okay, the new Apple Pencil only works with the new devices, and now I assume that the new magnets are not compatible with Apple Pencil 2. It seems like it's for because that stupid Apple Pencil, it doesn't actually connect through that mechanism. It only attaches, right? It doesn't charge or anything. So Apple Pencil 2 is for older iPads, basically. This is the new Apple Pencil going forward, the main Apple Pencil, in my opinion. And it does work across iPad Air and iPad Pro. Rock Talent, are you considering getting one of these iPads yourself? It's difficult. With completely unlimited financial resources, I would buy the 13-inch iPad Pro, probably with 1 terabyte even. 2 terabytes just too wasteful. But I honestly don't know. Like, I have the M1 iPad Pro, so I have plenty of performance. I have a mini LED screen. I have Wi-Fi 6. I have 5G. It's hard to say if I need it, right? And then you also have to consider, I would need to buy a new Apple Pencil. I don't have a Magic Keyboard right now, but I probably would want the new Magic Keyboard, and we'll get to that too. So, okay, so we've cleared that up, right? So the new iPad Air and iPad Pro work with the stupid Apple Pencil and the Apple Pencil Pro, and the new Apple Pencil Pro only works with these new iPads. And so if you have an older iPad, you will still have to get Apple Pencil 2, so you cannot just get all the benefits of this new Apple Pencil with older iPads. Because of the repositioned camera now into landscape position, it seems to have a new charging mechanism, so it doesn't interfere with the camera at that position. I assume the magnets, whatever, are a little different than they are on that old Apple Pencil. And because this stupid Apple Pencil is so much stupider and does so much less, it is basically not bothered by those problems. I assume you could still probably just magnetically attach Apple Pencil 2 to these devices, but it just wouldn't charge or automatically connect. You have the M1 iPad Pro 1 terabyte version because your school gives me one. Lucky you. I'm jealous because the new students will get M4. Damn, that's a nice school Pro. I still wouldn't complain about having the M1, but yeah, I understand. Obviously, new is always better, right? So Apple Pencil Pro. Then Apple Pencil 2nd generation. It's interesting because the Apple Pencil 2nd generation is basically just an Apple Pencil Pro for older devices with slightly fewer features, but it is $129 because it's basically still a premium product. This is $79. It's what I call the stupid Apple Pencil, and the first generation Apple Pencil only exists if you have like a 9th gen iPad or an 8th gen iPad or whatever iPad with like Lightning. And this is this is why, by the way, it is even still there. Like, a lot of people will complain that this looks confusing, but no, like the new the new iPads only support those two, and then if you have an older one, you either choose between this two, and if you have the oldest one, you just get this one. So it just depends on your generation. You click on the compatibility list, right, and see that. You can actually see that, Apple Pencil 2 does not work with like the new iPad Air, iPad Pro. It's actually very nice of Apple to just differentiate those devices by name with the processor instead of going 4th and 5th generation, because I just find that differentiation far less intuitive. Going by processor makes a lot more sense. So that's just how I intuit it. And yeah, they extended that that table of confusion, but in my opinion, it still works out fine. Guys, we have quite a few people watching. Please let me know if you would like to see me cover something else. If you're enjoying this, please subscribe, like, share, comment. If you want to support me directly, leave a super chat or a super sticker. Or if you want to support this channel directly long term, you can find my Patreon link in the description of this channel. Not sure what iPad you have, right? So you need to know what iPad you have so you know which Apple Pencil to get. But in my opinion, Apple still needs to sell all those Apple Pencils, because there will still be people with like ancient Lightning iPads. There will, like, this is the only Apple Pencil that matters for the 10th gen iPad, and then this is for older premium iPads. Rook, you're saying, I'm sure people will run benchmark so you can have the data you're looking for. Oh, I'm absolutely sure. It just takes a little bit. People are super anal about performance, but personally, I just want it to be fast. Yeah, I think that I want it to be fast. I of course want a new version to be faster. I especially appreciate it with that speed comes with a notable efficiency benefit, so I can get a lot more speed without worrying about battery life. This is, for example, like my issue with like Ryzen 7000 and 8000, the mobility versions, right? There's like 4 nanometer. They are like pretty advanced, but then when you compare them to like the APU on the Steam Deck at 15 watts, they're basically like not more efficient at all. And they're basically more efficient once you hit like higher performance levels. But then if you really want like a lot more performance, now your efficiency just completely falls off the curve. So that's just, I'm very happy that M4 seems to be like a notable bigger focus on efficiency than M3 was. Alexandre, you're saying you're now looking to buy either an iPad Pro 5th or 6th gen, so that would be the older, right, versions, versus iPad Air 12.9 or iPad Pro M4 with 256. So you're basically targeting like a $1,300 price point. Not sure that M4 chip does anything better. Oh, wait, by the way, I think I misspoke earlier when I said that it's $200 between iPad Air, like the sizes. I believe I also said that it's $200 between the iPad Pro sizes. I think it's $300. Not sure that M4 chip does anything better, well, over M2, probably not that much, just a couple seconds better. Yeah, I think that's correct. I think we'll probably see a lot of stuff that M4 might do over M2 at WWDC. By the way, let me briefly check Apple stock, because I know that like there was like a lot of AI fever there. But yeah, Apple stock is basically unchanged. The entire market looks flat. So people don't look like they bought into a ton of AI hype, but it still seems like it's somewhat positively received. Blick, do you think it's worth upgrading iPad Pro M2 to iPad Pro M4? No. To be honest, I just consider those kinds of upgrades wasteful. It's not like upgrading from M1 to M4 already seems a little wasteful to me, and why I'm probably not going to do it, but unless I get it as like a gift or whatever. But M2, I don't know. It's just the immediate predecessor. I would say wait for WWDC, see what kind of AI features might be exclusive to M4 devices, and then take a week or so, see like how much... not take a week or so, take some time, see what discounts are available, because Apple devices these days usually get like discounts pretty fast, like maybe after a month and a half, 2 months. But right now I probably wouldn't like be running out and pre-ordering it. I just wouldn't, especially since, again, it's not just the iPad, but now you would need the new Apple Pencil Pro if you use it. Oh, by the way, let us talk about the last major accessory, right? That was shown here, and that's the new Magic Keyboard. By the way, it's the old Magic. Yeah, the pricing is the same, which I think they should have reduced the pricing of the old Magic Keyboard by $50 to make it also more appealing to iPad Air customers. But I assume a lot of people will be now buying it not through Apple, but like through Amazon with discounts and stuff like that. I don't see why anyone would just pay like full price for the old gen Magic Keyboard. So, but the new Magic Keyboard, order now. It's the Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro, delivers an amazing typing and trackpad experience. So is the trackpad is notably larger. That's because of how the attachment mechanism on the back works. It's still a floating design, which I kind of didn't expect. And they made space for a function row. So the fact that these two are the same price is a little weird, but whatever. It has a function row, a USB-C connector for pass-through charging. It has front and back protection, which, yeah, of course. The floating cantilever design smoothly adjusts to multiple viewing angles. A larger glass trackpad expands so you can work with iPad OS and delivers haptic feedback. I wonder if that means it's like a force touch trackpad, or if it's still like a diving board mechanism, but one that is enhanced by haptic feedback. I also wonder, how much does it weigh? Like, are there tech specs for it? A Magic Keyboard Folio. This is for the 10th gen iPad. Yeah. By the way, this is why I say I kind of didn't. I assumed it wouldn't be floating, because I kind of thought it would be similar to the Magic Keyboard Folio. But yeah, so. Yeah, it seems like the new Magic Keyboard only works with the new iPad Pro, and the new iPad Pro only works with the new Magic Keyboard. Let me briefly check on that. So a size, yeah, it only has these sizes. I assume it would, like, compatibility. Yeah, so it's only compatible with the old ones. Which I assume that means the old one isn't compatible with the new iPads. Rook, with the Magic Keyboard, you're basically buying a Mac, but for far less money than a real one. Wait, for more money? The Pro iPads are more expensive than now. Yes, if you want to compare like a MacBook Air to an iPad Air, then you are actually pretty close. And then once you consider also the extra versatility of stuff like, you have a camera on the back, you have like the option to use Apple Pencils. I would still say the iPad is better value if you just really know how to use an iPad, right? So that's really the major consideration here. You cannot just say, oh, my iPad does this, or my iPad like my iPad has this price and my Mac has this price, and this is how I compare value. You still have to understand what can the Mac do, which is not everything the iPad can do, and what can the iPad do, which is definitely not everything the Mac can do. So, and you kind of have to decide that for yourself. This is why if you get, for example, like I have an iPad Pro and a MacBook Pro, like I have like a Logitech keyboard thing, like for my iPad, but basically most of the time I just use it with like what is it called when what is it called when you like share your controls from the Mac to the iPad? Not share the screen, but share the controls, basically like keyboard and mouse input, stuff like that. So this is the Magic Keyboard for those devices. And what is it compatible with? Yes, and that's basically the old Apple Magic Keyboard. So if you have an old Magic Keyboard and you want to use it with those new iPads and they're basically size compatible, then you can. So yes, my guess here was basically correct. I still think Apple should have reduced the prices for this, but overall, I don't think this is bad. I think if you can find one for like, instead of $299, maybe for $220, which I don't think is actually that far off with what you could find on like Amazon and stuff these days. And given that there is all that cross compatibility, yes, I would encourage, like, this is actually the first time where I say like, probably get the Magic Keyboard for iPad Air. Just don't buy it up front for full price on Apple's website. And then of course with the iPad Pro, yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer. Look like how sleek it looks. I just wonder, like, the floating cantilever larger, like, do they say how much it weighs? Like, does Apple talk about that kind of stuff for like... No, it doesn't say here. Wait, Magic Keyboard. 0.1 pounds. Does it say what the new one weighs? Do you think the M4 iPad is comparable in power to an M3 MacBook Pro? Yes. Like a regular M3, yes. Especially with Apple advertising the better cooling and the better efficiency, I would just advise you to think about the fact that the 11-inch iPad Pro has a 32 watt-hour battery, and the 13-inch iPad Pro has a 39 watt-hour battery. The M3 MacBook Pro, the 14-inch version, has a 70 watt-hour battery, so basically double. So you will get not just, like, you probably will get still better sustained performance because of but the iPad now has also more memory bandwidth. So no, I would actually probably say, like, in terms of peak performance, the M4 iPad definitely wins, but you still also have to consider what that means for battery life, because you have a giant difference in battery capacity. Man, does it say anything about the weight for M4? Combined weight? No, it doesn't. It doesn't yet say. Apple support. Magic. No, that's the wrong Magic Keyboard. It stands out with a thin and lighter weight. It also... Wait, does it say that the new Magic Keyboard is lighter? By the way, like, was that actually true? Like, I don't think the Magic Keyboard is 0.5 pounds. Yeah, that's the Bluetooth one. Jesus, Google... I'm so stupid. It's They weigh basically as much as the iPad. But now this is lighter. Guys, can any of you find quickly if the new Magic Keyboard is lighter than before? Because Apple does not really like... And they attach to iPad magnetically. Why do they not have like a much prettier website for it? Is it on the iPad Pro like sheet? iPad Pro, iPad accessories. Well, that doesn't change anything. That will bring me to the same website, won't it? Yeah. Damn. Let's see. So we talked about how thin and light the iPad is. Yeah, we saw the design breakdown. Oh, by the way, one thing that I briefly want to see, in terms of cameras, did I get it right that it only has one camera on the back now instead of two? Cameras, 12 megapixel wide, f1.8 aperture. Yes, no ultra wide. At least this it looks to me. If we compare iPad Pro here and then the immediately previous iPad Pro to that, and if we go to cameras, 12 megapixel wide, ultra wide, 4K ProRes. Okay, so there's a noticeable difference here. Okay. So they got rid of the ultra wide, which I think is smart because in my opinion that was always wasteful. And if it saves them like even $3 and makes the construction even just logistically easier because they don't have to source that weird 10 megapixel ultra wide camera, yeah, I'm all for it. And then yes, there's the new landscape oriented camera. They didn't talk about it actually being much better, which is a little bit of a disappointment because I don't love the quality of the center stage camera, but I assume they have to save some stuff for like the next stuff. Which, by the way, like I find that camera arrangement just so funny because it still looks like there's a second camera, but there isn't because Apple probably didn't want to visually downgrade it, which is phenomenal. Yes, so camera, no. Okay, so this is the design, the display, the performance, iPad OS, Apple Pencil. We've talked about Apple Pencil a lot. Magic Keyboard. Tap into the new Magic Keyboard. Magic Keyboard innovation is key. Function row key. Sleek profile, chic protection. It's actually cool, but it still doesn't lie down. Like it's still not an accessory for like anybody who draws or anything. Which I mean, yeah, I know it's like a keyboard, but I kind of would be cool if it could just like lie basically flat on top of that. But Apple just really likes that you can take it off. By the way, like just briefly, I want to go back to the design and see what the back of the iPad looks like. Because I want to see what the attachment mechanism looks like. It doesn't... Did they not have like 360 images of this? Oh, it probably is like in text specs, right? It always shows the back. Silver. Wait, why does it not show the back side? No. Okay, let's see what they just say about it. Maybe they have like a back shot here. Two colors perfectly match the iPad Pro, so the new silver and space black. It features machined aluminum, a durable outer cover, and a USB-C connector for pass-through charging. iPad attaches to Magic Keyboard magnetically, and the smart connector immediately connects power and data without the need for Bluetooth, so it's ready to use instantly. Full function row and then some. Type comfortably in an advanced design with backlit keys, smoothly adjusted angles to your comfort, and use the new 42 key function row for convenient access to features like screen brightness or volume control. So here we have the much larger trackpad, navigate large spreadsheets and comfortably highlight text with a bigger redesigned glass trackpad with haptic feedback, conveniently scroll, swipe, or use multi-touch gestures. They do not show the freaking attachment mechanism. Your brother has the M3 MacBook Pro, so by getting one of these iPads, I could have a similar spec machine, or perhaps better in some ways for far cheaper. Yes, if you just focus on the raw performance. But don't forget that the MacBook Pro is 14 inches, so that makes it comparable to the 13-inch MacBook Pro, to the 13-inch iPad Pro, which is $1,300. And it comes with 512 gigabytes of base storage at $1,600. So the price at that point, the iPad would be $1,499. So you're very, very close. And once you add that Magic Keyboard, you're actually $250 above the price of the MacBook Pro with the same storage and RAM configuration. Mics, camera, action, shoot, edit, and share all on one device with a pro camera system, LiDAR scanner, studio quality mics, 4 speakers. Yeah, the iPad Air seems to still have like landscape stereo speakers, so basically dual speakers. This is a 4-speaker system. They said it features a lot better bass versus the iPad Air, but I assume the speakers are very comparable to the last one. Take dramatically better document scanning enhanced by AI. Studio quality mics, 4-speaker sound system, stage manager, 40 gigabits per second, Wi-Fi 6E, 5G. So those are pretty, like, I assume they wouldn't say anything about like storage speeds here, but now you can like edit like for Final Cut stuff directly on device from external storage. That's what they said. Wireless connectivity blazing fast. Basically it only like lacks Wi-Fi 7, but you probably don't need it. Now exclusively eSIM, that's cool with me. There's a lot of accessibility stuff. Keep exploring iPad. And yeah, they basically give you the comparison here between 13 and 11 inches, M2, M4, wide camera, repositioned front camera, support for new Apple Pencils, support for new Magic Keyboard, support for old Apple Pencil, support for old stuff. Okay, so that was a lot. Guys, we have more people watching now. As always, please, if you're enjoying this, subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know what you thought of my reaction and of my analysis, which how much time have we actually spent analyzing it at this point? My god, how long is this video? It's 2.5 hours. Wow. Yeah. It's like I like, let me know. Some have said that they are disappointed by iPads. Are you like me? Are you iPad enthusiast and stuff like that? Document scanning is super important for me in particular. OCR would work far better while scanning paper docs. Yeah, but like it works good on the iPad, and now they say it's enhanced. iPad Pro 11 4th gen prices will decrease or not? Yes, of course. But they will not decrease by as much as you would expect, because obviously it's still better in many ways than the iPad Air, right? And the iPad Pro is now much more expensive. So it being technically like right in between at like $800 makes sense, but I would believe that most websites would probably want to clear its inventory and then sell it to you for $700 or $680 or something like that. It also has been on the market for quite a while, so it's not like this is a product that just is like, oh, Apple replaced it after 6 months or anything. No, like the iPad Pro like M2 version is like worth getting. And the M1 is still worth getting, right? But then you really have to look for a deeper discount for it to make sense. So keyboard, we basically covered everything there is to cover. I will be covering more benchmarks and stuff like that as they keep coming out. Let me just briefly go to like, does 9 to 5 Mac have anything to say? Okay. Oh, iPad Pro drops 5G millimeter wave support. I'm fully cool with that. I hope the next iPhone does the same thing. It's a pointless feature. Roundup, hands-on with the M4 iPad Pro and Magic Keyboard. We could, brand new Final Cut camera app for iPhone and iPad enables pro recording workflows. Have they said when this is coming out? It's a free download. The new describes easy. Final Cut will be released later this spring for iPhone and iPad. So I assume it might get released when officially iPadOS 15 comes out. iPad Pro loses ultra-wide camera, fastest spec M4 chip exclusive to 1TB, 2TB. We covered that. The removal of the regular SIM slots, I've covered that. That, by the way, could be space that Apple is utilizing for like better internal management, battery life. To iPad Air. Yeah, so the battery life estimates are the same. They will vary on like screen brightness and stuff like that. Apple reduces iPad 10 pricing, nano texture glass option. We've talked about that. Its pricing, its availability. Talked about Apple Pencil. Guys, I'm basically doing like 9 to 5 Mac work for you. New version of Final Cut Pro. Yeah, it's all. By the way, M4 was not made from the ground up for AI. That was part of the actual conversation where Apple said that like they've been doing AI for years since the A11, and their neural engine is now 60 times faster than it was back then. So I really dislike that. Yeah, this is the same. All the things that we've already covered. Yeah, so it's the compatibility, the SIM. I assume they talk about the same things. The weight versus before, or is it? 11-inch iPad Pro, 13-inch. Yeah, the 13-inch iPad Air is heavier than the 13-inch iPad Pro because just apparently LCD. New iPad Pro with all options. That's stupid. I hate that because, like, yeah, I know the iPad is expensive, but when $500 of your pricing is like accessories, then I find that stupid. Nobody, I believe, very few people need $100 thing, and yeah, and. I don't like that stuff. Oh, it costs $3,000 with all options. Not really. And by the way, the last thing I really wanted to compare, like, yeah, the previous one was iPad Pro weight M2. That was 680 grams. Was it? Is it really that heavy? No, that's the new iPad. What are you talking? iPad Pro technical specifications. There it is. How heavy is it? 682 or 685 grams. 1.5 pounds. And now it's 1.3. To be honest, I think that's amazing. The iPad, I remember when the original iPad actually went down from 1.5 pounds to like 1.3, 1.2 pounds on the iPad 2. And I remember Steve Jobs saying on stage that once you go down to 1.5 pounds, every tenth of a pound becomes a big deal. And yeah, Apple kind of did the same here. I have a lot of respect for what they're achieving here. Guys, I'm basically close to wrapping up, and before I do, still have a couple of people watching, so I still appeal to you, please subscribe, like, share, comment. If you want to support me last minute, if you want to give me another gift beyond my beautiful little silver play button, leave a super chat or a super sticker to support this channel live directly. All support is greatly appreciated. And if you want to support this channel long term, then you can find my Patreon link in the description of this channel. So is there anything more you want me to talk about? Anything additional you want me to break down? I appreciate all the comments, all the feedback. Also, if you feel like it, follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description as well. My handle is MarkTech1996. So pretty easy to find and pretty active there. So yeah, otherwise I'll be wrapping up. We've talked so much about everything at this point. So if we just focus, right, the iPad Pro, of course, was the star of the show. The iPad Air is good, but the iPad Air is basically just a trickle-down device. It takes stuff from the iPad Pros, and it now, in my opinion, is far better priced now that its base storage configuration is doubled. The iPad Pro also doubled the storage, base storage, but of course getting more expensive with M4, a surprising leap in performance, a surprising leap in efficiency, OLED, a surprising leap in everything from brightness to efficiency to motion clarity. So the design, now Apple's thinnest device ever. In my opinion, the price increase is absolutely worth it here. I think that Apple is still like nickel and diming you on storage, on RAM. That is clear as day as always. But in my opinion, the base configurations are better value in some ways even than before. And the new accessories especially seem like fantastic deals to me because they retain the old pricing, which that pricing was high. But we have gotten used to that pricing, and now we're getting, despite inflation, better value at that pricing across the board. So Apple just sneakily got it in, and now we are used to $300 and $350 tablet keyboards, $130 pencils, digital styli, or however you want to call them. And in my opinion, this is a phenomenal refresh. I know we have still a lot of question what will come at WWDC, but I'll be there to answer those questions as well. This has been one of my longest streams in quite a while. We had a lot to do, a lot to literally unpack. We had to react live, and unfortunately I wasn't able to put the video right there, so I know a lot of you tuned in right like a minute after the stream ended. I appreciate that amazing support. I'll be here probably tomorrow, certainly the day after tomorrow, because it's a holiday here, to actually talk more about any kind of additional detail, maybe early benchmarks and stuff like that. I'll think about whether or not I'll pre-order it at that point or not. And of course, I hope that you guys will have time to think about whether it's a device worth it for you. As always, the support here is amazing. Obviously, I wouldn't have gotten here without you. This is a hobby for me, but a hobby that means more and more to me every day as I interact with more and more amazing people. We've had a lot of people coming in the stream today that I have never heard in the live stream chat before. So great thank you for that. And just beyond everything, thank you so much. And of course I'll be covering the iPad, the Apple Pencil, the Apple keyboard. Once it's out, I will go to the Apple store. If I don't buy it myself, I'll go to the Apple store and try it there. I will look for reviews. I'll look to hands-on reactions. Let me just briefly check, like MKBHD. So there's no like reaction or anything yet to the iPad stuff. But there will probably be some stuff out there soon, and I'll try to integrate it into my next content wave. And of course, once reviews are out there, the more comprehensive benchmarks they are. You guys know I love analyzing that stuff here. And my last appeal to you, if you are either live here or if you're watching afterwards, please still consider subscribing, because of everything that grows our community is amazing. Please consider liking, of course, if you're enjoying the content. Please consider sharing to further help grow our community. Please comment on videos once they've actually been uploaded. We usually have pretty active live chats, but then not as active commentary as under the video. So please consider leaving a comment, maybe with some constructive criticism, maybe with some praise, maybe with just your opinions. All of that is appreciated. If you catch me live, you can leave a super chat or a super sticker to support the channel directly financially. If you want to support the channel directly long term, my Patreon link is in the description of this channel. I know I've said that a couple more times this stream than I usually do. That's for one, because the stream is longer, and secondly, because there were more people watching. So even if you don't feel like doing those things today, maybe as you get deeper into the content, as you enjoy our community, you will feel like doing that in the future. Of course, all support, just watching the videos, is greatly appreciated. If you want to interact with me more, my Twitter link is also in the description of this channel. And I'll see you guys with more iPad, more Apple, more processors, more everything next time. Thank you so much. This is Mark Tech, tuning out.